So guys, the N-word. Let's discuss this in great detail.
Before or after we start the show?
Right now.
Right now? Oh, there.
Did you see that after PewDiePie said that and put out his apology, he literally almost did it again the next day?
What is that about? Sorry, I don't actually know.
Oh, he dropped the N-bomb
He was
in
playing,
frustration.
Yeah, he was playing PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds and someone shot him and his response was something like, "Oh, what a
Okay.
It's okay, he used it as a quote.
Yeah,
Just
quoting
like
someone
that,
else.
He used it as a quote.
So then he put out an apology, but then the next day he was playing something and he went, "Oh, that," and then had to stop himself saying it again.
This is the thing, though. He said after the first thing, which was the whole "I hate Jews" or something.
Well, no, the first thing was taken away out of context. He made a few Hitler jokes.
Yeah, but no, this is the one after that. Was the paid to. You can pay people on some cam site to do.
Oh no, that's the same one. That was all lumped in together.
But no, and then he's just "Oh, this is great. I've lost all my sponsors. Now I can be the guy I really want to be, and I have to be censored." And you're like, "Great." So it turns out you really are just a massive racist. Well done.
I saw the big defense of him. It was apparently where he grew up. It's very common for people to just drop it in
that's
casual conversation, which doesn't make it any better.
Yeah, as I said, that's like us right. That's like us saying yeah, we can drop the word or constantly in this, and that's not okay. Especially when it's in hate and not just saying it in an argument like I just did. As someone who has a coloured cousin, I took great offence.
Brothers and sisters, welcome to the Not So Super Bash Bros presents Game Club for September 2017. Almost said the wrong month there. Yes, Game Club is back. The monthly video podcast review thing where your four favourite chuckleheads pick a game every month, play it, come back and discuss it for your listening pleasure. This month, we played GTA 5 Grand Theft Auto. And as always, I am your host, the point man, Nick Davis. Joined as ever by the muscle, Hans Davis.
What about you?
The getaway driver, Alex Proudfoot.
That's questionable if you know my driving in games.
And the fall guy, IY Chung.
Hey, what? The best part was that I was actually away closing the windows and only came back in the middle of that introduction.
Yes! Grand Theft Auto 5. The open world action adventure game from Rockstar Games. First released in September 2013 on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. Then re-released on November 2014 on the Xbox One and PS4. And finally on April 2015 on the personal computer.
God, this is such an old game.
It is. It fucking shocked me that this game is 4 years old. It
Makes you feel old.
And they're still milking it for money.
Yes, they are.
Yet still no single player DLC.
That ship is long sailed.
Yeah, I know. I'm still allowed to be disappointed.
You know what I really was hoping for when the whole thing was announced? And there was 3 characters. I was really hoping for co-op.
I mean,
yeah, you
kinda
got that
online.
You got that.
Yeah,
in
but you
Grand Theft
didn't
Auto
get
Online.
story co-op.
Yes, Hans, you selected Grand Theft Auto 5. Care to elaborate?
One of the guys from work really likes Grand Theft Auto and watches the show. Said if we could do a Grand Theft Auto game, I said, yeah, sure.
But as always, I have pulled together 3 categories for us to discuss about GTA 5. Category 1, the stories and characters in the game. Category 2, the gameplay. And Category 3, because I think they are arguably the biggest part of the game, and maybe probably the most interesting, the heists, I think, probably warrant a discussion as themselves.
Okay.
So those are your 3 categories. So when we get to gameplay, if we can leave all the heist stuff for then, I'm more thinking of just the general moment-to-moment gameplay. So yes, to kick things off, the story and characters. I have made some notes.
Okay.
I'd like to think you did.
So I'll kind of start with characters, because I think... Just because that was the first note I made. So I think this is arguably maybe the strongest set of characters that have been in a Rockstar game. There is some outstanding like personal stories and character development, and I think Michael is arguably the best protagonist they've had. And I think Franklin works as a really good straight man to all the batshit insanity that kind of everyone else has. But I think, in contrast, there's also bad parts to it. I think Trevor feels like a relic in this modern game of an era gone past that has kind of left him behind, and the idea of him being the throwback to kind of how the old GTA characters were it kind of falls flat. And I think the entirety of Michael's family is insufferable in the worst way, and not in the way they intended.
Just to think about Trevor there, I do agree, but I feel like in the trilogy of the 3 characters, I kind of don't mind it, because I think I read somewhere the whole point of the 3 characters is that they're supposed to like represent the states of the protagonist in a regular GTA game. So you've got Franklin, who is like, I started from nothing, like most GTA protagonists do. And then you have Michael, who's be like, this is kind of like what would happen if you got to see the protagonist's life after, the credits rolled on the previous games. He got the money and he's living the high life. Then apparently Trevor's supposed to represent everything that happens in between, like all the batshit crazy stuff that happens and all the missions and stuff. So in that terms, I don't mind him. I think I'm a bit more forgiving when I think about it that way.
Trevor sucks.
Yeah, having
Ditto.
gone back and played this, like the first
Ditto,
time I
you
played
suck
it-
too, Nick? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I remember the first time I played this, I didn't mind Trevor, but this playthrough of it was, oh my god, do I have to play him?
I couldn't tell, it feels like he is batshit insane for the sake of let's make him batshit insane and have this character that people can make memes and fucking have all these stupid gifs about. It feels like there's he has no legitimate reason to be a dick to most people. It's just, he's crazy. Haha.
He does drugs, man.
Yeah, it seems to all fall flat. In my eyes, anyway.
I feel like he isn't done in such a... And sometimes he is done for kind of comic relief, yeah. But there's other times it is just he is there to be... It's not supposed to be played for laughs. It is supposed to be quite uncomfortable at times. There's one bit whenever you cut down, where you transition out from one character to another. There's a couple of times if you transition to Trevor, there are times he is getting out of bed with Floyd. Is it? What's the cousin that you go to Los Santos to see?
Cousin Floyd, yeah. Floyd.
Cousin Floyd.
Who remembers waiter Floyd?
He's just getting out of bed with Floyd, and it is heavily implied he has sodomized Floyd. To me, I feel like he's not supposed to be necessarily there just for the laughs and for his craziness. I think he is just supposed to be portrayed as genuinely psychotic.
But I feel like even if that's the case, for me it still falls flat, because this isn't I feel like we still saw shit like this in the other GTA games. I don't think anything he does is particularly off the scales. I think there's 2 moments in the game where you kind of think, oh yeah, that's pretty fucked up. I think the torture scene is kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
When you're first introduced to Trevor and he just stomps the shit out of someone's head is pretty fucked up. But beyond that, I think a lot of his stuff, as much as they portray him as this crazy kooky character and it's psychotic, it's not that bad. It's particularly kind of put against when, as any character, you can still go out and just go on a murdering spree in the open world. But that's an issue in every GTA game where it kind of flies in the face of characters.
I will have to argue though with your introduction of Trevor, because I fucking love that introduction. I can't think of any.
But like that is one of the best parts of Trevor is the introduction
Yeah.
and that torture scene. They are two of the parts where it does portray him as a proper psychopath.
I can't think of any other game where in the first time you meet the new protagonist, he kills one of the old protagonists just like that. Like, because that's Johnny from the Lost and Damned DLC of GTA 4. That's fucking hilarious. Because I actually didn't know that the first time, and then I was just like, oh, what's the big deal? And then I found out he was a previous protagonist. I was just like, oh shit, that's actually quite cool.
I feel like the issue that we're having is that he's just one-dimensional. Because you see, like,
Yeah.
this development of the other two characters, but he is just him, you know? Like,
But
Yeah, no, I'll agree with that. Yeah, like there's no character development for Trevor. He goes in, he starts crazy, he ends crazy, and there's no like greatness there. Nothing memorable there.
But then I feel like you can counter that by saying, like, I think Michael's story is arguably one of the most interesting of this guy who, and I think it sums up the kind of the whole idea of the GTA 5 story of you can have everything but still not really have the thing you want. Where Michael has everything he could ever want. He has the riches, he has the fucking Hollywood lifestyle, but it's still just not enough, and he wants to be back in the game.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really well told story, and I think it reminds me of the John Marston story in the only difference really being John Marston was reluctantly always pulled back into the criminal ways, whereas Michael seems to be like diving headfirst into it.
Just talking about how you said his family are pieces of shit. Can we talk about the thing we talked about when we first announced this game, which is about the representation of characters?
Mm-hmm.
So when the game first came out, GameSpot gave it a 9 out of 10, which is a fantastic score. But everyone was pissy because they were like, oh, why is it not perfect? Why is it not perfect? And then the reviewer, who was transgender, decided to say the reason it's not perfect is because, or it's not a 10 out of 10 game, is because there's no positive representation of female characters, which is correct, there isn't. But then I believe
my GTA Online character begs to differ. She is a strong, empowered demon woman.
But my argument with that is there's just no positive representation of any character in it. The only time, in my opinion, when there's actually positive representation is whenever you get to the very, very end, and there's 3 options. There's either, spoiler alert, I suppose I should put it here. 3 options: either kill Trevor, you are Franklin, but you can either kill Trevor, kill Michael, or tell, I believe it's Devin Weston, to go fuck himself, which is called the suicide option. The only time there's actually any positiveness is the suicide option, where at the very end they kind of do show some sort of camaraderie, which is like, look, we hate each other, we fought, we've bickered, but at the end of the day, neither of us want each other dead, so we're going to band together. So yeah, I think there's like no positive representation at all, bar that one bit. I think everyone's an asshole in it.
Just like real Hollywood.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
but the thing is, like, the entire game though is just stereotypes. Like, that's all it is.
Yeah, that's
Like-
all it's ever had.
Like,
But yeah,
like,
I feel like that is just
that,
GTA,
yeah, that's
like-
GTA is the thing, isn't it? Like,
and I think that comes on to my next point is the setting is very like GTA, like it is this very hypercritical like look at American culture, and I think it does nail it very well. I think it does like what it sets out to do. Like it does take the piss, and it borders the line between like funny, satirical, and yeah, it does kind of make you think like what the fuck, like with stuff like the Life Invader stuff, like the pseudo Scientology cult, and just like the fame and shame stuff. Like it all is just fucking casting a lens on American culture. So I think it's maybe worth noting that I feel like there is 2 elements to the story. There's lots of these, say, like mini stories, like the Stranger and Freak stuff, just the random, like off the cuff moments that you kind of have. Then there is obviously the main overarching story, and I feel like they contrast each other quite a lot. Where I feel like these side stories, and I think a lot of the Stranger and Freak stuff is really well written, really funny, really cohesive. In contrast, I think the main story is terrible. I think the overarching main story is all over the place. It has terrible pacing. There's a lot of pointless missions, and there's just too much time spent like focusing on the wrong things. I feel like.
Yeah, like tow trucks.
Yeah,
That's Strangers and Freaks.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
interesting.
That was actually say I'm completely the opposite. I think
Yeah, I'm the opposite as well.
I think the actual main story is very good, but it's paced out so poorly because of the Strangers and Freaks and all the faffing about in the real world. Like, see, once I kind of buckled down towards the end and focused just on the main missions, the story was actually really good. But there is so much faff in between that I feel like it does dilute the main story a bit.
no, I think there's a lot of faff within the main story as well. Like, it struck me the very first time I played it on the PlayStation 3 where you're like gearing up and it's like fucking driven. It's like, alright, this is going to be the final stretch. We're all gearing up for this final heist. And then it suddenly introduces Michael into this like Hollywood producer plotline that takes about 5 or 6 missions. And it just completely kills all the momentum going into the final heist. And you're just like, you've completely like ruined any hype I had for like going into this last stretch of missions because you've fucking shoved in this terrible storyline that completely killed any momentum that was going on.
But that was supposed to represent him getting a normal 9-to-5 job.
But it's not enjoyable.
I wouldn't say it's not enjoyable, but I think it was put in the wrong place. It should have been kind of put in more or around the time where he starts to get his family back. Like, I think it's put in just as his family starts to come back into the house and stuff after they leave him. But I feel like it would have been a lot better. It's like, oh, but like I'm not doing criminal stuff anymore. I'm doing like a movie producer and stuff. So come back. I'm getting my life back on track. So I don't think it's a poor choice. I think it was in the wrong place.
I like, it's not the only area where I think like they spend too long focusing on their own thing. Like, I think you spend too long stuck as Trevor, and it's compounded by the fact that I don't think Trevor is as good a character probably. But I think you spend, like, after that first heist, you spend far too long kind of stuck with Trevor being your only option. And kind of narrowed down to one story to focus on.
I think one of the things about Trevor as well that makes him not the most favourite character, shall we say, is that, and this is touching a wee bit on gameplay, but the combat in the game is not the best feature of it. Like, I think like the driving and the travel in the world and stuff are all fantastic in it, but the gunplay and stuff it's fine. It's not bad. I think it's perfectly adequate, but it's not the best feature. And a lot of Trevor's stuff is heavily combat orientated, so I feel like that's probably what drags him down a lot as well. Is that it's his focus is like one of the lesser, not as strong parts of the game.
Has shooting ever been like a good part of a GTA game? Like, I don't remember ever.
This is the best it's been, put it that way. Like, I remember GTA Vice City being trash.
Yeah, like those original PS2 GTA games were like, you literally just it was not great.
No, this is the best it's been, and it's like I said, it's fine. It's not terrible, but it's not awesome.
I really hated the submarine.
Oh yeah.
Like, I just felt that whole thing was so unnecessary.
Yes, that entire heist I think is completely unnecessary.
Yeah, like it is, and like
what does it show story wise? It's like Trevor's an idiot. Well, yeah, we kind of got that.
Were they trying to play a joke on the players? You think with the whole like it's because it pops up at the end, gain 25 million, and then net loss minus 25 million. Like, was it supposed to be a joke that just really wasn't funny because it took so long?
I feel like this video is turning into just let's just hate on Trevor. And you know what? I don't mind that, right? I don't mind that, but
it's just I felt like, what was the need to do all that?
Yeah.
The end result of it was like, oh, Trevor, you're so silly. You know, great. You've wasted my time.
Like, like Nick is right. Like the main story does deviate unnecessarily sometimes, but I still think it's a good story. That's just really diluted down by everything else, by all the other like side quests and stuff.
Oh yeah,
no, I really enjoyed like a lot of those Strangers and Freaks missions. Like, that's, I would think, is maybe where I differ from you two anyway. I'm not sure about that.
I really like Michael and Franklin's story. It's just Trevor kind of felt kind of unnecessary in some bits.
Do you know what Trevor would have been fantastic as? Trevor would have been great as a quest giver. You know the way like, each quest giver is supposed to have like a... Think of like Brucey from like GTA 4. Trevor would have been fantastic if he was like one of the people giving you quests, because then his like whole psychoticness would have played in quite well, and you would have been like, why the fuck am I doing jobs for this guy? But yeah, no, I think he's definitely the weakest of the trilogy.
I like the Strangers and Freaks.
Not that
some of them are good. Some of them are really funny. Like I think the Nigel and Mrs. Thornbury stuff with Trevor, the celebrity seekers, they're hilarious, and I think the paparazzi guy's hilarious as well. But you know what's not hilarious? Doing 5 fucking toe jobs for Tanya. That is the most boring shit in the world.
But I think that's where it gets away with being, these are side things that you do not need to engage with. Like, compared to, say, the main story where you need to do every single of the 69 missions.
But then I genuinely can't think of, bar maybe the submarine mission, I can't think of any of them being as absolutely tedious as that.
I think the entire Hollywood bit is tedious.
No, because at least there's like combat or like sneaking or flying a helicopter. Like,
but it's not, that stuff isn't enjoyable when you were like, I was so pumped. Like, that's the main reason I never finished GTA 5 on PS3, was because I was so disheartened with being torn away from the end of the game.
But then that to me doesn't mean they're bad missions. That just means they were put in the wrong place in the game.
Whereas the submarine one was a bad mission.
Yes. Yeah, the submarine and the toe jobs were like, you can understand doing the toe job once or something, fair enough. But then 5 times you're like,
is there an actual payoff to that?
No,
it's just
yes, there is.
What, did you can buy it?
Yeah.
But then you buy it just to do more toe job missions.
But it also has a base income as well.
Does I thought it was one of those ones that you only got the base income if you did the job.
Pretty sure it has a base income as well.
So there's not really a payoff.
But then you say that there is not a lot of payoff to a lot of the Strangers and Freaks. Like, what's the payoff to the Beverly stuff, like the paparazzi stuff? At the end
you get to punch him in the face if you want to.
That's it.
I mean, at least it's something.
What? Yeah, and being able to buy the Drow company is something.
Yeah.
Oh, here's another thing here's another shitty Strangers and Freaks one. Any of them that are collectathon, like the spaceship parts or the submarine parts, because there's a lady, if you buy the submarine dock as Michael, there's a lady you talk to, and you have to go around the entire ocean bed collecting submarine parts.
That's some MMO shit right there.
That is, and it's like not a small amount. It's like 50 pieces each.
But I feel like that is also, but that comes part and parcel with, those are again side missions that you do not need to engage with.
I'm not saying all Strangers and Freaks stuff's bad. Some of them are absolutely hilarious, and some of them are really, really entertaining. But there are just those other. I'd say there's a good couple of stinkers in there too.
Oh, I feel like you've been oddly quiet.
That's because I feel like I'm on the side, unfortunately, Nick, of Hans and Alex. But the thing is, though, the thing is, I don't want to speak too much about it because I only ever played up to the submarine bit, so I don't actually know what the rest of the story is. So I don't really want to speak too much of it.
But did you play the submarine bit?
Yes.
And
but actually, here's the thing. Let me put it this way to you. You see one of the Strangers and Freaks bit? Amy, right, was sitting beside me. And there was one where you're literally jogging with a woman.
Yep.
Yes, Diane or something.
Yeah, and because Amy had watched me do like whatever story bit, and now suddenly I'm like creeping on this woman. And Amy's just like, wait, why are you here? Like, what's this about? And, I appreciate it is a side thing, but it really does, like, break up the story. Maybe in a good way for some people, I don't know. But I actually enjoyed it more just going through the story, personally. Until you get to Trevor.
I don't think I have anything else to say about stories or characters. Anyone else?
No, I'm good for gameplay.
Yes, so the gameplay, Hans briefly touched on it. I do feel like this is still kind of just your typical GTA gameplay. Like, not a lot has changed from GTA 4. Like, it's still
Driving's a hell of a lot better.
Yeah. Cars don't feel like boats.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
boats,
but, like, at
boats
the end of,
do
like-
feel like boats.
Like, this is still a third-person shooter with driving, gangbanging, and shit.
I agree. It is. It's still GTA, but I would just say it's a lot more polished. Probably is the best way to go about it. Yeah.
However, there is
Oh.
a bit of the gameplay I do want to get into.
Is it the character swapping?
No.
Okay, because I want to get into that. But...
I want to get into how I feel like. Maybe it is because, as I have noted here, I think open world games have come a long way in a very short period of time. Since
Yes.
probably the new generation of consoles.
Yes.
I think this open world is terrible.
What?
Oh, okay.
I think there is nothing to do in this open world.
But all those strangers and freaks you
Yeah,
love so much, Nick.
Yeah, you love the strangers.
But that is missions. Literally the open world serves little to no purpose.
Hey, there's those robberies that you can stop.
Yeah, the random encounters and shit.
You can steal a police car and be a good guy.
There's the races.
Yeah, there's flying races, quad races, off-road races, street races,
I had
jet ski
literally.
races,
You know what I compared this to in my head?
base jumping, BMXing, triathlons.
I
Stop
compared
me.
this to Mafia 3, where I feel like the open world served little to no purpose for me. Other than an extended way to go in between missions.
I disagree.
I would also disagree. As I was saying the other day, like, having literally just played LA Noire, where the open world in that game, in my opinion, actually filled no purpose.
Yes,
like,
there's
like-
no side quests.
Like, that's an
Shit.
actual open world with no purpose. But GTA, like, going from one to the other, like, there's stuff. Like, there's actually stuff.
Nick, there's darts you can play.
Whoop-de-doo.
Well, what would you have
Darts.
wanted, Nick? I guess that's the question.
Yeah,
What
like,
would you...
My main thought behind this was, like, compare this to, say, something I would, like, the main one that kept popping in my head was The Witcher 3, where I never felt like any time I was going from place to place in The Witcher, I always felt like I could stop and do something meaningful. I didn't feel like anything I could stop and do in GTA 5 felt meaningful.
Because it's quote-unquote real life, Nick.
Yeah.
Possibly, and it is maybe part and parcel. Witcher 3 is an RPG where you're constantly, say, gaining experience. But you could even say the same thing about GTA, where you do have these stats. The issue is I feel like those stats mean jack. I never felt like getting those stats up did much. Maybe the stamina did.
Yeah, I was about to say in
That was
in
what I did.
that one jogging with the woman, I collapsed.
Yeah.
Flying makes a big
I never
difference.
felt any difference between flying as Trevor, flying as Michael, or flying as Franklin.
So are you saying you would prefer this if, say, you were driving down the street and a random gang attack happened and then you had to get out and kill them?
Not necessarily. Like, I just felt like I could stop and do darts. I could stop and do a triathlon. I could stop and do all these races. I didn't feel like there was any reward to doing so. They just felt like activities they'd thrown in the world to fill time. Compared to, as I said, The Witcher, where everything I did give me a tangible reward.
Well, I mean, with the races and stuff, like the flight and all that stuff, not the triathlon, but that you got money as a reward for that.
Money is not an issue in a GTA game.
So I think what you're looking for is the GTA Online version of the open world.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot more to do, because there is experience in online.
Yeah, and you're unlocking stuff as well
Yeah.
by doing these missions.
Whereas-
maybe that is something they could have done, is have maybe a sense of unlocking these new cars to buy in the single player as well. Because
Well, they technically do have like a way of unlocking cars, and that's getting money.
But
Yeah.
Because the cars are locked behind very high like paywalls, essentially.
in the single player,
Yeah.
Yeah.
are they?
Yeah.
What
Some of
cars?
them are really expensive, yeah.
You can buy cars in single player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They never tell you that.
It's
Yep.
whenever you buy a garage.
Yeah.
You know what it does? It's whenever it pops up saying garages are now available for buying. If you any cars purchased here, or any cars purchased will be stored here. And that's how
I
you
don't
get a
know.
mechanic as well to bring cars out to you.
I don't know. I never felt like I needed to buy a car as well, which was maybe another thing. Because
Well,
It is called GTA. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like one, you can always steal a car, and two, your own car is never far away.
I really like the world. I think the world.
I think the world is
interesting.
like, I think the world, like as a world, is really interesting. It's really well detailed. It's really well done. I think as a gameplay thing, I think it is very poor.
I had no issue with the world because at the end of the day, they're basing it on a city.
Yeah.
And how many cities do you have those interactions in?
But like, I do have another note saying that said, there is something to be said where I can like make myself laugh for like an hour or two by jumping into things and ragdolling.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking hilarious.
That is hilarious, but like, and I mentioned it. LA Noire is probably and the Mafia 2 and 3 as well. Those games would be on the very like bottom of the like. This is literally a fucking shit show of an open world where there's literally nothing to do. I do not think GTA is that bad. I just feel like all the side activities they do let you do have no tangible benefit to doing them.
Well, they're there for people who don't want to play online. That's essentially what they're there for. And then if you're after that kind of thing that you're after, you go online and do the gang attacks and do like all the other stuff that pop up randomly.
I feel like if you ever wanted to like do any of that kind of stuff, you should just have a different game for that kind of stuff.
Like, I was thinking about this, like, I know it's a really, like, tired and true comparison to make, but Saints Row 3, where, like, all the side activities in that actually give you unlocks and, like, new guns to buy and new power-ups to buy.
That's just kind of... I would argue that's a different style of game.
I'm going to hit you up,
Yeah.
Nick, right, with this truth bomb here, right?
Mm-hmm. Saints Row 3 is a better game.
No. Real life sucks. That's why we play video games. And now we're in this loop here.
Where games are trying to be as realistic
Yeah,
as possible.
but it's boring, right? And you've just said it there. No, I think the open world is designed really nicely. And at the end of the day, the reason why it is there is for me to drive around really, really fast.
Yeah.
Not to actually play darts.
Yeah, like driving down the street, going to the next mission, having a wee blip appear on your map. It's like, oh help, someone's stolen my bike, oh someone stole my purse or whatever, and then you run them down, and then you get the option of keeping it or giving it back, or even just hitting a car and the person gets out and chases you down.
Yes.
Or you hit a car and it's a gang car and they all jump out and start shooting at you, stuff like that. It's like,
or even the fact that Michael's flip flops actually flip and flop. That's
and of course the most important thing, tennis
and yoga.
Not so much.
And yoga, Alex.
Do you know what makes the open world actually really good as well? I think the radio stations are genuinely and like obviously having licensed music helps. But even like
not when you're streaming.
But even like the wee little radio shows they have in between songs, like that there is really good.
I actually didn't listen to the radio on this playthrough. I put a podcast on.
I mean, I know you said all the radios are awesome, but I would say 99% of my time was spent on Los Santos rock radio.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong, Nick. I was on rock or pop, right? But there was something for me, right?
Yeah.
The occasional rap radio, whatever, Smoke Weed Every Day came on.
Look, who doesn't like Danger Zone?
That does not come on nearly enough.
No, it doesn't. You're absolutely
It should be like every other song. and then the other song should be Radio Gaga.
What about listening to Space for Skeletons by Stevie Wonder?
What about
Radio Gaga or Danger Zone?
What about I Want It That Way? But oh wait, no, sorry, what?
I do like how in some of the missions that you can fight over the radio station with the people in your car. Did you notice that?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's the one when you're with Lamar in the van. I think
or Jimmy with with Michael. He like puts on rap and then you can tune it to something. And he goes like, "My car, my music." I was like, "Yeah, fuck your rap. Let's listen to some Radio Gaga, bitch."
Is there anything else we want to say about the open world? Kind of,
or just the gameplay in general.
Oh
yes, I want to talk about gameplay.
Yeah, you had some.
I think the gameplay and the missions are at their best when they take full advantage of the character switching. I think it's a really cool feature, and when they use it correctly, it's fucking awesome. My best example is probably the bit where you're extracting the informant from the IAA building. I think it's really good. Like having Franklin as a sniper, Michael rappelling down, and then Trevor in the chopper. I think it's really cool how you can literally, if you wanted to, you could just play as one of them, and then let the rest of the thing play out, or just like swap between all three. Well, you can't swap between Trevor until you're traveling, but you can swap between sniping as Franklin and being the rappel as Michael. I think it's really, really cool and done really well.
Yeah. I have issues with swapping just because I feel like there are times where for some reason it takes a long time to swap characters. Like it's just when you're running around the open world.
Oh right, yeah.
Just because I know it's loading in there are times where it's having to load in like an entirely different area. And I will say it's very funny when you kill someone else in the open world. Like if you are, say, Michael and you run the fuck over Franklin.
They text you said, I'm going to make you pay for my hospital bills or something.
That also happens if you just run over any other named character. So I did the bit with, you get a call from Michael's wife, like, and she's in the middle of being arrested because she was shoplifting. As soon as she got out of the car, I ran her over. And he literally screams, "No! Why did I do that?"
Yeah.
And then you get a text later on saying, "What the fuck?"
I do love how all characters are essentially invincible after a trip to the hospital.
Since we're on gameplay, can we just like very briefly touch on like just multiplayer? Even though like none of us, I don't think, played it this time, but we all
multiplayer's
like,
great.
That's all. That's all wanted to be said. Okay, move on. No, multiplayer is good.
Great with friends.
I don't know. I remember us being gunned down a lot by randomers. Like that was fun. And then
we initiated gang wars.
Yeah. No, I feel like they did really really well with the multiplayer. The only thing I didn't like in general, and it's just with Rockstar games in general, and just any game that requires like a login thing at the start. Like no matter what I'm doing, I need to like log into their server to do stuff, and like that stuff tends to take a while, like or at least longer than I would like, shall we say?
Yeah, I remember the trying to get into a server on multiplayer taking up to 10 minutes sometimes. Just because it had to load everyone and everything on the server. And yeah.
And like I did find it satisfying, like us making up stupid like race types and like doing heists, which like genuinely felt, in my opinion, like quite satisfying, some of them. Like to go through all those phases together, and then blame each other whenever someone dies because no one's allowed to die. If I recall.
Yeah, the higher difficulty.
Yeah, it depends on the difficulty. Yeah.
So our final section, as I briefly mentioned there, the heists. There's 6 of them in the main story. Or am I thinking of multiplayer? Is there 6? No, there's 4 multiplayer. I think there's 6 in the main story.
I mean, you could look it up.
That would be fact checking, and we don't do that.
Alright, okay.
We'll say 6. I think there's 4 multiplayer, 6 in single player.
I want someone to call you out. Say, oh, you should have looked it up because you're so wrong.
So the idea behind the heists is you do they are essentially long-term missions where there is set up. You pick a crew, you pick a like method to do whatever you need to do, whether it be rob a jewelry store, rob a bank, etc. And I think these are easily the best part of the game, bar that one with Trevor. Just because literally you have like the 2 options are both shit. Anyway, so
I think the best thing about the single player heists is the fact that if you pick a crew in order to be really greedy, like they do mess up.
Yeah. Like say like
the jewelry one. If you pick the wrong
driver.
Yeah, they pick the wrong type of bike.
Yeah. Also, one of the gunmen as well. If you pick a poor gunman, they also crash as well.
See, I actually did a lot of research into heists this time because I was like, all right, I'm gonna try and do them differently, and then I thought, what if I actually just do them like the best way, quote unquote. So apparently the best way to do the first heist is to pick the worst hacker, because even with the worst hacker, you have enough time to rob the entire store.
Yeah, I did that and I got the entire store.
And they said even if you do not pick, if you pick the gunman who crashes, apparently if you drive over the bag, you pick up his bag.
You do, but like you need a good distance between you and him, otherwise it's really easy to miss it, which I did.
Because in theory, that gets you the best take because you get an extra share essentially.
Yeah.
And the bikes apparently are like, there's much difference. You either get dirt bikes, which are obviously easier to handle, or you get street bikes, which are obviously more difficult to handle, but you can like be as slow as you want in that section. Underground, to be fair.
You kind of need to be unless you like want to hit a wall several times, like I did.
So yeah, like I thought, like the fact that there is differences and like things like that, it's really awesome, and I think it's something I really hope they take forward into other games. Like
we were talking about this.
Yeah, Hans and I talked about this, where like I really like to see them do something like this in the next Red Dead. Say like, oh, you have a gang and you're like holding up this train or something like that, like in a true Western fashion, as a man sits there and twiddles his mustache with a woman tied to the train tracks. Like, there's a lot of opportunities to do heist-esque things in a Western setting, which could be pretty awesome, and especially if they hopefully take that into Red Dead Online.
Yeah, I say like I do love the heists. Some of them are a wee bit silly, like the one where you rob the bank in the middle of Sandy Shores, and you're like, fuck it, let's just go out wearing bulletproof armor, and then so you technically don't actually have health, but you lose more money the more you're shot. I like it and it's fun, but it's a bit ridiculous, which is fine because that was one of the complaints about GTA 4 was that it wasn't too serious at times. Yeah. Also like the mission on it's not a heist one, but like the mission on the railway line, you know, where Trevor essentially derails a train that's carrying Merryweather cargo. Yeah. And that stuff falls off. You gotta get that as well. So, no, I agree. Like the heists are really, really fun, and really, really enjoy them.
I think heists are also really handy to like break up the game, or else, yeah, obviously it's still just a mission, right? But
yeah,
the whole lead up to them, even if some of those bits are not great, helps to like give a bit of variety to the story, as it were, in terms of its gameplay.
They work really well in the multiplayer as well, where you do actually have, say, 4 people all with different roles. Like, I think the multiplayer heists are arguably, I think, better than the main story ones. Like, the prison one, I think, is amazing.
Oh, that took us so long. Oh,
it did, but it was so good.
I disagree for the fact that I hate it now.
It actually made me want to say to you guys, do you guys want to go play GTA Online and do one of these heists again?
I actually kind of wanted to play some online heist. I'll be honest.
I don't think iOS's laptop.
No, I don't think I could either.
I was kind of hoping this would be. Oh yeah, play GTA 5 online.
You guys want to go into some online? I'll play some online, but I'm not doing the.
iOS laptop may not be up for the task.
I'm not doing the prison mission. It literally got to the point where every time I had to hijack that bus, I was just driving along, and by the final time, I could pop the guy in the head with one bullet and just take the bus. Like, goddamn that mission.
I know this is a bit slightly off topic, right? But the one thing I do want to appreciate, I want to like give credit to, in comparison to one of the other games we have played, right? Is that, remember how I said in Hitman, the thing I didn't like was that there was no setup. But I feel like because like the heists in this, which is the same kind of deal. You have this objective you need to get to, right? But I feel like the heists in this, because of the way they're portrayed and the bits you do beforehand, it made me feel like, oh, this quote unquote should go well, and then it's it's great that it's even better than whenever it doesn't. I think that's really good whenever that like happens.
Like if it wasn't for the heists, I would arguably say this would be probably my least favorite GTA game.
No, mine was San Andreas.
That's because you're racist.
No, I just think
That's
it's
because
really
you're
shit.
racist.
I am not going to pootie pie this next, so just you calm down.
Is there any final thing before we do a wrap up?
Since we're talking about heists so much, actually, yeah, I wanted to say one thing. Now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of wish Payday's heists were like this. Like different sections. Now that I'm not, obviously it's a different game now, but like just now that I'm thinking about it, like just like sort of complement the heists in this game more.
They did it better than a game that only had heists. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like that's how I'm kind of feeling right now.
I also feel like that is a fucking unapt comparison when you have Rockstar Games, who's arguably probably the most wealthiest game company in the world at this point.
I don't know. Have you seen like the DLC Payday 2's been putting out? They're raking in the money.
Dude, GTA 5 is the best selling game ever.
Ever?
Like on the
Ever.
like physical, like tangible, like retail copies. Yeah.
Like, that's not even taken into account. Is that taken into account Steam and shit?
Yes, that is. It's so like Minecraft has technically sold more, but that is not counting Minecraft. The NPD don't count like Minecraft, and it was just selling it through its website.
Oh, yeah.
Like tangible, like retail copies of Minecraft have sold less than like GTA 5.
That makes sense to me. Like, Grand Theft... Every time a Grand Theft Auto comes out, it is big shit.
And like people have been pouring fuck tons of money into that online.
Yeah, they have.
But it is that thing though. Like, it is this. It is obviously we all play games to like essentially be someone different. But like this is the whole like power fantasy, which is, let's call it close to home, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like that's obviously one of the big draws of the game, because these are the kind of things which like you can't do, but you can't do them for very different reasons than say, I can't be like a character in Skyrim because dragons don't exist.
Yeah. I can't fly through the sky because superpowers aren't real.
You saying I can't be the president of the United States like Saints Row 4?
No,
Well, you
I'm
weren't
not
born in
American.
America, Nick, so that's one obstacle.
Prove it.
Don't make Trump ask for
Okay,
a
yeah,
birth
not a
certificate.
problem. Being your blood relative and all that shit, yes, that will be very easy.
Being a blood relative means nothing. I could still be born in America even if you were born here.
Can we move on before Nick has a meltdown and starts trying to talk with an American accent?
So yes, we will do our final wrap-ups. All in all, I feel like there is some very good highs in GTA 5. I also feel like there is some lows in GTA 5. It's by no means the worst GTA game in my eyes. That would probably still be 4 to me, I'd say. Yeah, probably 4. Maybe 3.
Oh, you think GTA London was better?
I'm only counting the ones I played. Obviously, I've not played 1 or 2. We'll say that of the modern GTA then.
They were modern. They're in PS1.
if that makes you feel any better. But I do not think it like for me it never hits the highs of Vice City, which will remain in my heart the best GTA game.
Hell yeah.
But I do think like there is things here for like there is a reason this is such a popular game and not just for the online. Like this is a fucking polished ass game. There's a lot to do in this game. Maybe not a lot that I particularly enjoyed doing or felt like doing, but there's a lot to do in this game, and I can see why like people are still playing this game to this day. Hans?
Yeah, no, I really like this game. I think the story is really, really good. I think it's also really funny. Like, genuinely made me laugh out loud a couple of times. Gameplay is really, really solid. Most polished it's probably been. With some, I think the character swapping stuff is like a really good cherry on top of the sundae. Downside, it is too long. The pacing is really, really slow. But I still think it's a really fantastic game all around, pretty much. I arguably would say, in my opinion, I think it's the best GTA. That's my opinion.
Alex?
I thought the pacing of the story was really bad, but the actual story itself was quite good. Apart from Trevor. Online is probably the best aspect of this game, except for the 1 or 2 heists in single player, which are really good. it just feels like online was the big draw. Being able to like put yourself in an open world with other people doing GTA things, like it definitely stepped up the game from GTA 4. But Vice City is definitely where it was at.
Oh,
Trevor sucks.
Alright,
Everything else is fine. Trevor sucks. He's unfortunately 1/3 of the single player trinity.
do you see Trevor's penis at one point?
Yes.
Do you?
Yep.
I couldn't remember. I know he bends down, but like I'd like only caught a quick glance. Like, was that a penis?
Yeah, you see, he bent. It's like it's talking about
Yeah,
sizes. to
it's like
Floyd,
the
he
bit
whips
where
it out.
with Floyd, and he's like, yeah.
Mine's nothing special, but it gets the job done.
Yeah.
And then Floyd's like, "Could you pull your pants up, sir?" Then he bends down to pick his pants up, and you see cock and balls.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember.
This is an interesting way to wrap up an episode, guys.
And he is
Speaking
uncircumcised.
of wrapping it up, work on
I
kids.
knew that was coming.
That's all. Smokey the Bear says wear a condom.
So that is the wrong mascot.
So yes, in conclusion, I'd say skewing towards quite positive. We all have our issues with it. We think there are bad parts of GTA, but there are also some very good parts of GTA 5. And we're all one big happy family. However, before we wrap up or leave and go our separate ways, we have one order of business to take care of, and that is for October. It is IOI's time to pick a game. And IOI, what have you blessed us with this good fine month?
I'm glad you called us, Nick, a happy family, because I'm going to destroy this family with my choice of game. Because
Is it Sims?
Is it? Alright, okay, before you announce it, can you say who's going to like it and who's going to hate it as a prediction?
No, because it's always me. It's every time we do this, it's like, oh, we're all going to like it apart from Hans. Oh, we're all going to like it apart from Hans. And you know the thing is, see, when you say that, I'm automatically going to go in negative about it. So what's the point in doing that?
you're all
IOI.
going to love it and hate it.
Oh, okay.
IOI, can you do me a favor?
What's up?
Can you scrap whatever you picked and just pick Cuphead?
Pick what?
Cuphead.
I always don't know what that is.
You should look up Cuphead.
Can you
Go
do
back-
it after he reveals it?
Go buy Cuphead, kids. Wear a condom, play Cuphead.
Why are you targeting that towards kids, Nick?
That's the Nick Davis motto.
Well,
Sorry, IOI.
My
Okay,
brother's
well-
a sex offender.
well, I picked the after, right? Because recently we've been doing a lot of recording about Divinity 2.
Yeah.
And
Oh, we're going for Divinity.
no. And, you know, what was the summary, guys, of all those recordings?
Nick is shitting, is escaping prison, and Alex is a dick.
It's that last point, Hans. It's that last point
Oh,
that we're
okay.
homing in on here, right? Now, we know, right? So far, I've picked quite a few multiplayer games, right? And this is no different.
Oh,
From
That's
clever
how I picked Payday.
Endeavor, Montreal, Canada. I want us all to play Ultimate Chicken Horse.
Oh, yes.
What?
Nice.
Oh, is this a game you don't know? Hans?
I've never heard of this.
You'll find out next time.
This is my kind of game.
Oh, this looks like Cloudberry number 7 or whatever the fuck it's called.
Cloudberry Kingdom.
That one, yeah. Is that what it's like?
So Ultimate Chicken Horse is essentially a game where at the start of every round, a box of items appears and each person picks an item.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a start and an end and a goal to get to in the level. And you try to place the items in a way that, oh, I can make this if I know how to do it, but other people may fuck up and die. Because if everyone completes the level, no one gets points. But if you complete the level by yourself, you get extra points. If, say, only 2 people complete the level, they split the points.
And you get points for
And you're essentially trying to make the hardest level possible that you can still complete, but no one else can.
So it's like Mario Maker, essentially, except
yeah,
we're
it
all
is like
playing.
Mario Maker, but multiplayer.
Yeah.
And you're all playing the same level.
Yeah, and the goal
So-
is to kill each other, essentially.
So IY's run of indie games continues then.
Yes.
It's gonna be great.
I'm looking forward to this because I've seen a lot of people play this and it looks very
Hey,
fun.
I've also picked indie games except for Alan Wake.
No, but IY has picked nothing but indie games.
I'm just supporting the little guy.
You're also supporting your laptop.
I kind of wanted to pick. Actually, I'll tell you this now again. I actually wanted to pick Darksiders 2 again, but the sale I saw ran out of copies last night, so it was unfortunate. But yes.
So yes, join us towards the end of October. We will come back and discuss our murdering antics in Ultimate Chicken Horse. But for now, it is a goodbye from Hans.
Have a good one.
It's a goodbye from IY.
Wait, that's a different order.
Yeah, what are you doing,
Oh
Nick? It's usually
shit!
me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a goodbye from Alex.
Oh no, it doesn't matter now, Nick.
Wait, what was
And
my
it's a
line? What was my
goodbye
line?
from
What was
IY. And it's a goodbye from me.
God damn it,
See you
Nick. You have
next
one
time.
job and you mess it up.
How many times have we fucking done this, Nick?
I
and
don't
you
know.
can't
I don't
do it
know what
right?
happened.